Hi there, my name is Rachel, and I'm one of the illustrators and character designers here at Blue Mammoth Games, and this is a look at Fate. The weapon combination is usually decided first thing when we're starting a character. It's actually what we usually know before we do anything with the character. We knew before we started doing anything for Fate that she was going to use a scythe and an orb. And so a lot of the sketches, in the beginning, you'll see her wielding orbs or holding scythes, and that's because we knew from the get-go that's what kind of user she was going to be. But when it comes to the actual weapons themselves that we have the base design for, those usually don't come until after we have the base design finished, because we want to make sure we know what her costume is and what she looks like, and then tailor the weapons look to that as well. So you'll see on her scythe is kind of green hue matches her hair a little bit, and same with the stars on it. They reflect the base look, so those come after everything. So when we start with a character, we usually start with a group of buzzwords that we want and that we're trying to, capture the feeling of for the character. So with Fate, a couple of those were, we knew we wanted a magic user, a magician, a mage, and we wanted someone good, someone fun, someone upbeat and spirited with her. So a lot of her designs were bright and colorful to contrast a lot of the other either scythe characters or orb characters that we had previously released, because we wanted someone really, really peppy and bright, and we knew that kind of from the beginning. So a lot of our designs, all the way down the line, were focused on that, on bright colors, bright blues, bright pinks, bright purples, because we felt that was the best way to, get the feeling across and what we wanted with her. When we're coming up with the initial spread of character designs, it's a lot less of coming up with what we think the end result would be, and more of just getting as many ideas down on paper as we can, or in this case, I guess, digital tablet. And a lot of the beginning ideas we do in our own style, because it's the quickest and easiest way for us to just rapidly shoot out, whatever comes to mind for us. A lot of my initial ideas for Fate were, I honed in pretty hard on, I wanted her to be like a cool sort of old, wiser battle mage sort of type, And so a lot of that came across in my early sketches, either her being sort of the like kind of wild, peppy master that you might see in like a TV show, someone who clearly has a lot of knowledge and knows what they're doing, but also has a lot of fun with their students and with their magic and with what she does. And so that came across, I think, in a lot of my earlier designs. So after the first spread of concepts, we sort of take the ideas that we liked the most, and we'll try a lot of costuming stuff from those ones. And so we'll pick certain aspects that we think will work best on the rig itself, and we'll scale everything down and put it sort of in the traditional pose that you'll see in the game. And we try a lot of stuff with the face, especially because that's the most important part of the character. And so we do a lot with the hair and the eyes, and with her specifically, the hat was a really important part for her. So we focused a lot on trying to get different hat styles and seeing how, floppy versus pointy versus something stuck out the side versus something dangling off the back, and how that would, just feel and look on the different models in different ways. We could, feasibly do everything with that. When we're deciding color palettes, it could really come at sort of any part in the design process. With Fate in particular, I think we had a pretty good idea of what we wanted from the beginning. We wanted a lot of pinks and purples and sort of like rosy colors with her actual outfit itself, and I think that made a lot of its way to the end result. But color palettes are a lot of throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks eventually. We try everything throughout the whole course of the process, and as you see the designs and as you're going through the designs, you can see we tried blues, sometimes we tried yellows, sometimes we tried purples, and it's just, we try everything throughout the whole course of the process, and then eventually there will be something that comes up and everyone will be like, oh, that's it, that's what we like. So there'll be a couple points where we'll put, what we have into the general feedback channel for everybody in the office to look at. And we usually do that, I would say about 3 times with 3 large spreads of what we have. The first time we usually do it with with our initial concepts. Sometimes, we leave a little bit of our own styled drawings in there, and we'll present sort of every option we've come up with, thus far to the office, and then see what people like about specific drawings, and then take that feedback, process it, and then put it into another smaller spread. Usually it's more honed in on model and on style, and then do the same thing over again a couple more times until we eventually break it down to about 2 small pitches for the character. Things like 2 small, solid, not quite base ready yet, but like a design or a look that we think could possibly eventually become the base, and we'll pitch that to the larger group audience, and then take that process, and then that usually gets turned into the really nitpicky feedback that we do, where we'll take it, we'll refine it internally in the art team, and we'll do really, really minor tweaks for a good solid while it's like slightly changing the colors, slightly tweaking the glasses, slightly tweaking the hair. Like, everything is really minor at that point. And then once we have the solid base, we put it back into the group and see what everybody thinks. Generally, with creating characters, everyone has a hand in everything. We have a pretty big design team now, and so there's a sort of unity or connection between all of us in that we all put out our own ideas, but we're all also able to take others' ideas and build off of those if we want to. It's a very collaborative experience in that everyone has a hand in touching this character and in getting their ideas in and tweaking her or shaping her if they think they have an idea for it. So like, one person might suggest something different for the belt and then say, oh wait, that's cool, can I do something slightly different with that? And then put out their idea. And so everyone kind of works on their own computers, on their own time with their own ideas, but also we constantly share and see each other's process and see each other's work, and are constantly building off that with like a big Lego house. So when we're working on the characters, a lot of times the other departments are, working on their aspect of the characters as well, and that's where a lot of the collaborative effort will come into play, in that we'll go over and see the effects animators and what they're doing and what their part of the process looks like, and what they think the effects should look like, and what colors they're thinking, and like what shapes they're thinking of using in the effects. And sometimes we'll take that and incorporate that into the design and the base a little bit, to sort of get the cohesiveness between all the groups. Same with the actual character animators, like what sort of flavor they're thinking of for the moves and the attacks, and how can we get that to come across in her personality of her face or her look or anything like that. And vice versa goes the same way. We'll show the base and the feedback, or we'll show it to them, or we'll walk around and everyone will look at everyone's computers and see what we're all doing, and we'll take that feedback, or not necessarily feedback, we'll take those images, take what we see, process that, and then try to redirect it into, everyone tries to put their own little spin on it for what they're working on. So I think one of the funniest things about Fait ended up being, her signature sort of iconic light green fluffy hair was a little bit of a last-minute decision, to pull back the curtain a little bit. You can see mostly through all the sketches, we had pretty much settled on her being blonde for a lot of them. And we had the sort of final spread, we were going into feedback, and we kept looking at her and we're like, why doesn't she feel it's ready yet? Like, what's still missing from this? And I was like, let's make the hair green. And then we did that, and I think that was one of my favorite tweaks to her, was making this sort of really bright candy green hair for her. I think it really helps her feel super magical and super fun. My name is Rachel, and thanks for watching this behind the scenes look at Fait.